Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn, and our guest now is another favorite person of mine. We had Karen Howard during the first part. This part of our show is Amy Summers. Amy's been in business over 20 years, but I've known her over 30, right?
I think that's right. That's
It,
amazing.
it is. She was 4 years old when I met her, as you can see. And it's so nice to see you. It's been forever.
I know. Where have
How
you been?
come? You have people call me your people. Your people call my people, and I'm my people. It's
That's how
different.
they learn. I'm mentoring them to be
I
great like
know.
you.
Well, we're going to talk about mentoring. You have a book, it's a bestseller, uh, Lift to Membership Touch Points to Empower and Accelerate Your Career. Helping other people, can that help me?
That was the theory of my book, and it's a reframe on how to make it in your career. So I wanted to show the next generation of leaders that they could succeed not by pushing others down, but by lifting others up. So the concept of lift is that if you help others rise in your career, you're going to rise too.
I just read an article not too long ago that women in business, in particular, if their boss is a woman, they have to be particularly aware that not to exceed too much because the woman doesn't want the underlings, if you will, to succeed or to replace them. Have you heard that as well?
Well, I think anybody just has to watch Devil Wears Prada and they will get the stereotypical boss of what it's like. And it seems a little outrageous watching that movie, but I can tell you from speaking to so many people that have interned with me and have moved on to other positions in their career that, this narrative is still happening. And it's really sad to think about. And it happens to men and women. But I think it's just the idea, not necessarily a gender thing, but I think it's just the idea that it took me a long time to make it to this point. You're going to suffer on the way up too. And that was one of the things that I wanted to dismantle and lift and to show young leaders don't mimic what you've seen modeled for you. We need to start a new movement, and it's the movement of lift. And so not be afraid that if you help someone else out in their career and you kind of give them the instruction manual, if you will, then they will also succeed because if you help somebody else in their career goals, they're going to be a lot more committed to you. And by by just virtue of that, they're going to help you succeed.
Is Lyft a roadmap to success in your mind?
Well, it is in a way a roadmap. In Lyft, I break down the best of the best in 10 touch points. And then I even give a bonus touch point. And so after 2 decades of training team members and developing talent, because pitch publicity is quite the machine for helping people early in their career. I've followed all the interns and young professionals that have worked for me over the 2 decades. And the reason why I wrote the book was that I was noticing something in common. So the people that work for me don't necessarily have anything in common. They're different people, they come from different walks of life, they're different genders, everything was different. But the thing that was the same was what I how I interacted with them as in their first job and what were the human touch points that I were doing with them during their training. And so even though they're all coming from different walks of life, they all succeeded in their own right in different ways. And so I wanted to kind of capture that in Lyft. And so Lyft is broken down into 10 touch points that really are human touch points and reminders to leaders that if you just do these things as a daily practice in your leadership style, then not only will you develop great talent, but they will have success, and that success will return to you as well?
I think of chefs, executive chefs. You live in the food capital of the world, really. And you see these TV shows where the executive chef is yelling at his staff or her staff. It doesn't matter. It's not a gender thing. It's just you're in a restaurant that may be expensive, and uh, you want the chef, the head chef, wants it to be a certain way, and maybe it's not coming up as the food's not being prepared as fast. It's not being plated as well. I find that to be reprehensible. I could not personally work. I couldn't work as a chef anyway. I mean, I'm a home cook, but I, being yelled at, I would cry. Um, it just doesn't, and I have had staff of 30, 40 people when I'm on a shoot in a studio, and you've got 20 people doing everything from food to lighting. Why would I yell? You know, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yes, and I think that, that's just one industry that we see toxic environments, but there's lots of toxic environments like that. We see it in the entertainment industry, we see it in sports, we see it in all kinds of different industries, finance even. There's lots of toxic work environments. Now, all that to say, I think that when you're mentoring somebody, you do need to shape them, you need to coach them, but you can do that without yelling at them and treating people poorly. And who knows, maybe they'll stick with you for a little bit as well, too, if you don't have such a toxic environment. But there's a way to get the same result and be kind. And so that's really the message of Lift. Like, we can be kind, and being kind does not mean soft. Being kind could mean telling someone the truth about their work. It could be informing them that, hey, I see that you're doing it this way. It's not really the best way to do it. Let me show you another way that will be more productive. And so you can be kind and still succeed. And I think a lot of times in our culture and in media and entertainment and movies, we see a different environment that you have to be this mean person to get things done and succeed. And we also have leaders who do act that way in our in our culture. And what I'm trying to say with Lyft is don't mimic that behavior. You can still have the same result without being cruel to someone. You can be kind and still succeed.
Wouldn't wouldn't that end result be better? I mean, if somebody is yelling at me, I might respond and do what they're saying, but I'm not going to go above and beyond. If somebody is nice, you tend to, I think, overwork, over. Uh, uh, I'm trying to think of the word.
Well, I think you're more committed, right? So if you're
Yeah.
working for somebody who's kind to you, that can deliver feedback and constructive feedback in a way that is is more human and not so cruel. I mean, you definitely want to be with leaders like that. You want to surround yourself with leaders like that. And I think that if you're in a work environment where you've never had that, it may be difficult to know what that looks like. So I would encourage people that if you are in a toxic environment, to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. There are a lot of leaders out there that are leading from a different approach, and you don't have to stay in a toxic environment. Sometimes toxic environments might help you in certain skill sets, but they're not healthy to stay in over time. Obviously, this is late night health, so I know you talk a lot about health. And it's important that you look at your surroundings of where you're working or even at home. You don't want to be in a toxic environment at home. You don't want to be in a toxic environment at work.
Just to give you an example, I know that one of Amy's mentees, and he had expanded to more than a mentee. He was a full publicist, and he moved to Spain, right? And he was still working for Amy. She let him work. He was teaching English, I believe, during the day, and at night he was doing media placement. I don't know if he's back from Spain or not. Great guy, and but it showed me the kind of boss that Amy is. So anytime you have an opening, just let me know. Our guest is Amy Summers. She has written a book. It is a bestseller, and you can get it on Amazon. Is that the Amazon? Any place you want good book? You buy good
Anywhere
books?
online. Yeah, anywhere books are sold online. And if you prefer listening to books, you can also download it on Audible. I read the book myself. So if you want to hear my voice for 7.5 hours, you can download it on Audible.
That is a hard thing to do. I did
Yes.
one. We'll talk about that sometime. All right. The book is Lift to Mentorship, Touch Points to empower and accelerate your career. When we come back, I want to find out how helping others can help yourself. I'm Mark Alyn. Join us at latenighthealth.com. That's latenighthealth.com. Don't go away. More coming up.
You're listening to Late Night Health with Mark Alyn. The show continues in a moment.
Hi, my name is Karen Howard, and I wear a lot of hats. I'm CEO of Organic and Natural Health, but here's what I'm going to talk to you about today. There's a new podcast out there that you can't really miss. It's called Women Having Conversations. It's at womenhavingconversations.com. And we talk about it all, ladies and gentlemen. So tune in. You'll hear about things like vaginal dryness or raising kids or do I date when I'm in my 50s, 60s, and 70s? It's a lot of fun. Come and visit.
Hi, my name is Ursine Evans, and I'm the formulator of Pure Sine all natural hair and skincare products. Did you know that it only takes 26 seconds for chemicals to penetrate into your body? I created an incredible line of energetic products, non-toxin, that protects the skin. Check us out on our website, all one word, ilovepuresine.com. ilovepuresine.com.
Now you're part of the growing target of baby boomers we're serving. Hi, I'm Daryl Wayne, producer of Late Night Health, inviting you to join the Late Night Health family. If you have any business targeting the growing boomer market, Late Night Health is the ideal advertising vehicle for you. From vitamins to insurance, alternative health to Western-style medicine, Late Night Health caters to the growing population of those over 40 years old. This vibrant demographic has expendable income to fight aging, purchase travel, take care of aging parents, or just have fun. Find out about the advertising opportunities with Late Night Health. Call us at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308 or email us at info@latenighthealth.com. That's info@latenighthealth.com. Join Late Night Health as we empower people to take charge of their own health care. Call now at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308.
Hello, this is Kukua from Kukua Fitness in Africa with Us Travels. I tell you what, if you love to move your booty, you want to work out, and you want to do it in the comfort of your home, well, hey, I've got this for you. we have an app. It's on your phone. You can also get it on your TV, and it's called kukuafitness.com. You are going to be dancing to African music from all over the continent of Africa. And by the way, did you know that you could also actually travel with us? africawithus.com, and go to any of the 54 countries in the continent of Africa and experience the best time of your life. So don't forget, either you want to move your boomsy or you want to take an awesome trip to Africa. I got your back.
Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn, and in this segment, we may go a little bit long, so we have so much to cover. As we took our break, I mentioned that your book is talking about helping others, but how does that help the boss person? What does the boss person get out of that?
I'm so glad you brought this up, Mark, because mentorship is definitely a two-way street. So the mentee definitely benefits. They get doors open for them, they get insights, they learn new things. But if you're being a good mentor and you're listening to your mentee, you're going to also learn a lot of things too. So I've learned many, many things from my mentees. I've learned sometimes new technology tricks. I've learned how they think, and I've taken how they've thought and used that in my training of new mentees, because every generation is a little bit different on their thought process. So I'm constantly learning. I also feel like I stay socially relevant with my mentees because I can understand a little bit more their perspective. And it makes me more creative as a leader. It makes me more innovative. And so one thing I would challenge leaders with is that to look at mentorship not as something on their to-do list or a heavy lift. Look at it as a way to stay relevant and innovative and creative yourself, because when you are mentoring, you should look at it like, how am I going to benefit out of this too? And how you benefit is, learning from a younger generation, which can be very, very valuable. And I think sometimes when we get further along in our careers, we discount that as if we don't need to learn anything more, but we constantly need to learn more, especially with as fast as technology is moving. It's definitely helpful to understand, each generation's perspective on the world.
How do you stay up to date with technology? Do your mentees help with that?
Well, I try not to ever be afraid of technology. So if a new platform comes out or a new social media platform, I used to just resist it and say, oh gosh, I can't learn one more thing. But I try to resist that feeling and just jump into it. And some things, are a bust, like they don't really last that long, but I think it's definitely worth exploring and experimenting with. And a lot of times I'm experimenting with technology before my mentees are. So I always say, don't be afraid of technology. Definitely dive right in and try to stay relevant with what's going on. Not everything is going to stay. Some things are going to be just trendy, but it doesn't hurt to learn it so that you're not afraid of it, and also that you feel confident in what you're talking about as well.
And then what about the changes in technology? YouTube changes their algorithms all the time, and Facebook and LinkedIn and on and on and on. What TikTok? Give me another one. I mean, you know, all of these things, they all take time. Some of them want videos, for example, vertical. Some want them horizontal, and the new trend is record them. You can record it both vertical and horizontal simultaneously. I've been doing that, and trying new things. But isn't it hard to keep up with new ones as well as the old ones?
Well, I think all of the advances in technology just keep our minds going. And I have to give you kudos, Mark, because I'm always impressed with how you are staying up with the times. So kudos to
Yeah.
you.
Well, when we were started to record, the record button is different. The last 2 months on Zoom, it moved or changed, did something, and I just leave it alone. Damn it! Um, uh, it worked. Uh, do you ever do that? Do you get, frustrated with that and have to call a younger person to say, "Hey, can you show me what to do with this?"
I usually just trial and error for figure it out on my own, or you can always ask AI to give you help, and it gives you step-by-step directions now. So in that way, technology is kind of easier. It continues to get a little bit easier when we have more resources at our fingertips. But definitely, if you're a mentor, you can utilize your mentees, learn new tricks from them. Sometimes they know, and sometimes you learn things before they do too. So it's not necessarily an age thing with keeping up with all the technology. I think we assume that younger people know everything. They don't always know everything. Sometimes I'm teaching my mentees new technology, but I think just in general, it's important to just keep up with the times. And I know that it moves a lot quicker now, but this has always been part of our narrative. I remember when microwaves first came to the scene, or at least I heard about it. And I remember my grandmother telling me stories because she was the first person to show microwaves in her little town and demonstrate them. And everybody was very scared of them, as they should have been. But she showed,
Yes, they should.
she sold a lot of them, and now we're scared of them again. So these things ebb and flow. I think it's just important to not be afraid of technology and to embrace it.
Now, you work in media, you work in public relations, and your basic job is to take an author and to put them in radio, TV, podcasts, uh, print. Have I missed anything? I mean, you know.
Yeah, so at Pitch Publicity, we work with clients that want to get media exposure, earn media exposure. So our name is Pitch Publicity, and that's exactly what we do. We are pitching journalists every day. I talk a lot about pitch in my book Lift because I give the behind the scenes of how, we work in with our clients. So I think people will really enjoy that side of the publicist work. It's not something that's usually out in the spotlight, but I wanted to share the behind the scenes of what it takes to really pitch journalists like you. And I know that you've taken a lot of pitches from our pitch stars here at Pitch Publicity. And,
I
I
miss
use,
taking pitches from Amy Summers.
well, I can still pitch you, Mark.
Mhm. It's interesting because I know that these are young young people, and I try to teach them something. Okay, when they call, we have a brand new one uh, that started last week, I think, and she's going to be great. She's got a great personality. You know, she just jumps right in. What I find interesting is that they think of questions after we hang up and they call up. It's almost everyone over the years, they all do that. But what I'm impressed about, and maybe it's just because it's me, they actually pick up the phone. Um, there are a number of PR firms that will not call, and I don't work with them. PR and media to me is a relationship. Okay, we've had dinner and lunch, and we've driven around Hollywood together. Uh, you've taken me to some really nice dinners over the years in New York. Um, my point is, it's probably my turn to take you. So my point is that it's a relationship business between the two. Would you agree with that? Or has it
Yes.
changed?
So relationship is at the core of public relations. It's actually in the name. And it's all about how we relate to the public, specifically in a PR person's role. They're helping a company relate to the public and the media, as well as internally to stakeholders and their own employees. And so relationship is very important. And picking up the
Yeah.
phone is a signature of pitch publicity. I do realize a lot of firms do not do that anymore or encourage that. But in one of the touch points in the book on building confidence, I talk about our phone pitching a lot. So I think you'll enjoy that touch point, especially. But verbal communication and talking to people on the phone, especially impromptu phone calls, really builds confidence. And so you mentioned before that sometimes some of our pitch stars call you to pitch and they have to follow up and ask you questions afterwards. Well, they might have been flustered when they were talking to you because they didn't have,
I'm on the
everything
I'm on
ready.
I think I'm on the list. Call this guy first. He's easy. So
Well, you do have a reputation, so you have a good reputation of liking phone calls. So that you are on our hot list for sure. But I think phone calls are great, even if you're not a publicist. So I always say if there's an email you can replace with a phone call, you should do it because it really helps build your confidence to talk to somebody directly, voice to voice, because you have to think on your feet. And so it also strengthens your critical thinking
mhm.
skills. And they may throw you a curveball or ask you a question that you weren't expecting, kind of like how you do on this podcast. And you have to really think on your feet. And I think that with all of our technology, there's so much benefit in it and so much convenience in it, but where it's hurting us is it's hurting our strategic thinking skills. And we don't have to think on our feet because we can kind of hide behind a text message or an email and just sit back and wait. Whereas if you call someone on the phone, you have to be ready. You have to be ready for anything. And it really sharpens your strategic thinking skills and problem solving and overcoming objections in real time. And so it's a great exercise to do no matter what profession you're in.
Right. And what I don't understand is media saying, don't call, just send me an email. And I get probably with Late Night Health and and Mark Allen's culinary adventures and some other shows that I produce, I get 150 requests every day, 7 days a week. I don't have the time to go through all those. I see them, I glance at them, and I cut them. I have to. There's just
Well, I think the tide is definitely turning. We have had some journalists tell us recently, "Oh, I'm so glad you called. Nobody calls me anymore."
right,
A lot of times we will get interviews booked very quickly because we all we did was call. Today, in fact, we were pitching TV in Seattle, and a producer booked a TV segment with us, and she said, "Oh, I got your voicemail. It came through on my computer." So phones and computers are transcribing voicemails now, and so she
right.
saw the transcription of one of our pitch star, Allie, who was pitching her, coming through on her computer, and she emailed her back immediately. She didn't have time to call her. She said, "I just saw your voicemail come through on my computer, and I want to go ahead and schedule this expert of yours for tomorrow." And that just happened today. So there is still a lot of value in leaving messages, even calling, because in communication, what I've noticed is that you want to do what everyone is not doing. So if all they're doing is email now, that's overcrowded. Go back to do the communication that nobody's doing right now, which is impromptu calls and leaving voicemails. And I would encourage people to leave voicemails because no one does it anymore.
And I agree. It's interesting. There are a number of agencies throughout the country that will send an email and say, we want to book Joe and on your show. And I look at it and I think, gee, this would be perfect. It's a great thing. Not that I don't book just with Pitch Publicity New York, but
You
I
should.
I should. You're right.
I don't think we have enough experts for you there. You've got a lot of
That,
guests on your show.
I got it. But anyway, so I'll say, call me, and sometimes I'm a smarty pants and I'll say that means picking up a telephone or an iPhone or an Android and calling using the call function. 1 out of 20 will respond to that. And what I really want to do is write their client and say, just so you know, you're losing media. It's terrible. Anyway,
Well, I think even specifically when someone tells you how they want to be communicated with, that's really important to listen to. So if you're communicating to people, I prefer to be called, then you should get a phone call.
well, I have to tell you that your personal PR person, Ladora Brown, when she reached out to me a month ago uh, or so, it was so nice to hear from her after not hearing from her for a couple of years. That was really great.
Well, Ladora, her first PR job with pitch publicity, she graduated from Howard University. She's actually a couple of the stories in the Lift book, if you get the Lift book, and she really cut her teeth at pitch publicity, learning how to pitch. And she is one of my star mentees. She elevated and released out of pitch. She went to go work for some other people. And then last year, as I was getting ready to prepare to launch my book, Lift, Ladora went out on her own and started her own PR agency called the PR Lab. And I became one of her clients. So it really became full circle. So I'm doing my book, I'm investing in my mentees in so many different ways. And so Ladora and her partner, Amy Franklin, have done a fabulous job of pitching Lyft. It was very important to me that I hired someone outside my own company to do it because I wanted to make sure that you know, I would let my clients know that they were the priority at pitch publicity. And also knowing me, I tend to put myself last on any priority. So I thought I better hire a different PR firm to handle the publicity on Lyft. And Ladora and Amy Franklin have done a fabulous
They
job.
they're both terrific. They
Yes.
really are. Um, the name of the book is Lift. Um, uh, the Lift 10 membership mentorship touch points to empower your team and accelerate your own career. It's a great book. I've skimmed it. Haven't had a chance to get. I get about 15 books a week, and I really should sit down and read this. Listen,
Mark,
we're
you're going to
out of.
love it. You're going to love it because you've known me since before
Wait, am
pitch.
I in it?
And you're going to, well, I guess you'll have to read it
Yeah,
or
that
listen
means
to it.
that means I'm not. Listen, hold on. Thank you very much for spending some time. I always enjoy talking with you, Amy. You're a delight, and hope to see you soon uh, when I get to New York.
Thank you, Mark.
Do I get to take Winnie for a walk?
We will take my boxer Winnie for a walk when you come here and have dinner right here at the pitch pad.
That would be so much fun. Maybe I'll bring a camera. All right, hold on. Listen, thank you very much for tuning in or watching. You can watch us at YouTube, on YouTube at Late Night Health on YouTube, or you can visit us at latenighthealth.com. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a great week. Have a great time as summer begins. And most importantly, have a healthy time. We'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.